who's listening. This is a distress call from university. You may have remembered that I mentioned my contacts last time. I'm sorry I didn't go into much detail, old sport, but I feel as though right now is best the time to do so. Recently, my main contact for night updates has been talking to me more and more. He goes by K. Well, he goes by Nightcrawler, actually. I thought that sounded too stupid, personally. When he first spoke to me, I told him this. I asked him where he got the name from. The movie? He didn't know what I was talking about. The superhero, he also didn't know. I then asked him if he named himself based on the Nightcrawler worm. That's when he went silent, before defeatedly asking me to just call him K. Let me get this straight though. I've never met K. Well, that is until a few days ago. We first came in contact a while ago. It was the same night I discovered the telephone box as a new hiding place during the night. While the horrors were scaring me much more than they do today, what shook me the most was the sudden ringing of the phone. I hesitated for so long as I decided whether or not it could just be another horror of the telephone box, before picking it up anyway. It was Kay who was calling. Without even saying hi, he began speaking constantly in what sounded like gibberish or another language. I listened to him for about an hour. There must be some meaning behind these words, but I couldn't pinpoint what it was. Instead, I just sat and listened. I wonder if anyone does the same for me. Except with his luck, I eventually mustered up the courage to give him an answer. A quiet hello between his sentences was enough to confuse him. He was used to ghouls on the other end of the phone. That only meant he was more than happy to talk to me. His words weren't gibberish, but rather code. At first he doesn't dare to elaborate further. We both know the city can hear. The line goes quiet, and as I was worrying that our communication had been cut, a sudden slip of paper appears under the door of the telephone box. I look up to see an empty street. Kay's voice returns on the phone, asking me if I understand. The paper, as I scanned it, showed possibly hundreds of code words, alongside their meanings. I replied that I understand. For the next few days, I continued to be on call with Kay during the night. Although I may still have to refer to the code sheet sometimes, I am able to be updated on all the ongoing movements of the night because of him, and we even get to talk in between his updates, sometimes. I really think I'm helping him open up to me, old sport. It's nice to be able to do that for someone. One night, however, a couple of days ago, he asked me if I wanted to join him, in person, for patrol. My parents always reinforced stranger danger when I was a kid, but when you end up in the city, that rule isn't applicable. So, naturally, I agreed to meet up. It wasn't as if I never talked to the guy, I just didn't know what to expect. I've certainly heard bad reviews of the online dating scene around here. Who taught the cyborgs to catfish? But I digress. Kay asked to meet me on some rooftop, not one I've ever been on before. I presume he must have tough security to keep up the anonymous identity. As I emerge on the rooftop, I am greeted, not by Kay, but by his setup. Multiple monitors of hacked CCTV footage, numerous pages of scribbled notes and writing, all without a desk for it to stand on. As I ponder over this floor setup, it is only when I peer to my left that I see him. He crouches on the edge of the roof, a dark figure, a moving shadow. His head peers from left to right, back and forward, scanning the streets carefully. I don't think he noticed me come in until I cleared my throat. When he turns around, I am still greeted by that same black figure. I just about can't make out his face. With a mask and a hood, he remains anonymous, even to the human eye. His energy immediately catches me off guard. He walks over to me, and, as chipper as ever, he holds out a hand and awkwardly initiates some handshake I was unable to follow along with. The night was normal, for the most part. He walked me through his setup, and I got to experience how he patrols firsthand. I just don't know how he keeps track of it all. There are so many. As we're wrapping up for the night, with the sun rising in the distance and students stumbling home, Kay turns to me. He told me that, even though the sun is returning, the clubs aren't closed yet, and they won't be for another 30 minutes. He decided to ask if I wanted to join him on what he calls as his end of patrol party, which he does daily. Old sport, if I were to tell you anything, it's that I hate these clubs. Sticky floors, deafening electronic music, sweat, spilt drinks on your favourite clothes. I've never understood the appeal. Despite this, I agreed to go. What's 30 minutes anyway? To answer that question, a lifetime. Immediately as we get in, Kay heads straight to the bar, orders 2 drinks and hands me one. I didn't know what it was, and I still don't know. Kay begins to dance and jump about like crazy, and there I am, as still as a tree. The music just goes through me, in all the worst ways possible. It's scratching at my ears, it makes my head pound. I was already sick of it. I turn to Kay, who's still very enthusiastically jumping around, and, as best and loud as I can, I tell him I feel ill. I tell him I'm heading out. He assures me I'll be fine with some drink in me, that I'll get my dance on, and I'll immediately feel better. I tell him otherwise, but he persists. I decided to leave without saying anything. He calls me, still, every so often. He never gives reassurance. Instead, he just asks more questions. Despite having access to so many CCTV cameras, he himself cannot understand another perspective. He cannot conceptualize that someone could dislike clubs in the city. After a couple of these calls, I decided I didn't want to speak to him anymore. The phone box rings endlessly, and I'm searching for a new hiding spot. There are very few that allow you to hide from monsters, but even fewer to hide you from Nightcrawler himself. What am I to do, old sport? I feel lost. I'm beginning to feel lonely again in the city. Sorry I'm late with talking to you tonight, February, but it seems I have been caught up in other matters as of recently, with Kay. You wouldn't like him, and neither do I, if I'm honest. You would be mad about me hanging out with him. You would be equally as mad that I can't tell him no, and complain that I'm too kind-hearted. I never thought such a thing could be a crime, but once again I am proven wrong. If only you were here, February. I truly think I'd finally be comfortable here, doing what everyone else is, being normal. I've almost forgotten the meaning of the word. Instead, I feel the void of your absence grow every day, where time is a watering can, equipped with an infinite water supply. It is only a matter of time until I begin to drown, is it not? Without my own breath to keep me afloat, I am nothing without you. I do nothing but think about you in the times where I have nothing better to do, and even more in the times when I have much to do. And if I were to see you again, well, there's much we must get up to. Maybe I'd take you to one of these dreaded clubs, February, one of many that I've been taken to by Kay as of recently, and we get to laugh about the bad music and the even more embarrassing dancers, unaware that they're providing free entertainment exclusively for us. We'd be outside the chaos of the crowd, together, where I'd finally be free of this void and longing nothingness. Or, rather, I'd take take you on my normal nightly route. You, of course, would only use the time to berate me for my smoking habits before picking up the cigarette yourself. But hence, you are merely a ghost in my shadow, February, that I cannot see. And although you may hear me, the cigarette smoke can never actually linger in your nose. I wonder, all the time, are you still moving through life without me? Is such a thing possible if I am unable to perceive you in time? If a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? Unless, of course, there are others to perceive you and be with you instead, February, and I am merely a speck in your past. What have I been missing, being stuck so far back in your history? I just hope I haven't missed much. I hope you bookmark the page dedicated to me in the textbook of your life, even if I am only on page 2. But what a selfish thought of me to ask you to press pause on your life when it is me who is stuck in the past, February. I should be happy that you are growing. I should be happy that you're moving forward. But I am so scared that you will never turn back to see me. Oh, how I wish you could see me.